the very word spirit, at least in English, the word spirit comes from the same root as the word respiration, which means to breathe. Spirit and respiration derive from the Latin word spiritus, which originally means a breath or a gust of wind. Just like our word psyche, which means the soul or the mind, from which we get psychology and psychiatry. Psyche comes from an old Greek word, psyche, which originally meant a breath or a gust of wind. And the verb, psychein, meant to breathe or to blow, like the wind. The Latin word for soul, anima, from which we get animal, which means an ensouled being, or unanimous, being of one mind or one soul. Where does anima come from? Well, an older Greek word, anemos, which meant the wind. Even such a scientifically respectable word as atmosphere. The atmosphere, where does that come from? Anyone know? It comes from the old Sanskrit word atman, which means soul. But the older root, Indo-European root, is atmos, which originally meant the soul, which is the air which is the soul. Atman, you know, like Mahatma, great soul, Atman. But Atman originally meant the air itself. To be spiritual, and spirituality itself, originally meant simply to be conversant with the wind, with the air, with the invisible. Because the air is invisible. It is this, thick, meaning-filled plenum of messages moving between our different breathing bodies and the plants within this room and outside the room, sprouting from the sidewalks of the streets, and all the trees that surround this city, growing from the various islands here. And the air also binds us to the oceans and to the soils. The air was once felt, in fact, for the huge bulk of our human tenure in this earth, we felt the air as a kind of mystery that was unusually sacred and holy, precisely because you can't see it. It is that through which we see everything else. And we see it lofting the clouds overhead, and we see it bending the branches of trees and bending the grasses. We see that it moves all sorts of things around us, but we can't see it directly. And we see that we cannot think a single thought without continually imbibing this invisible substance. So it's not also moving our own thoughts, the air. And for many indigenous peoples, it is the air that thinks and dreams within us. The mind is not thought of as something that we carry around inside our heads or inside our bodies. Well, or rather, it does circulate within us, but the air or the psyche within us is entirely continuous with the psyche all around us, with the bending grasses, yes, with what is lofting the clouds. This is also a very, very old notion in us. But it's a very different kind of spirituality than that to which humankind has given itself for the last couple centuries, well, for the last couple thousand years, really.